What's going on? Welcome back to the Show Me Kayak Fishing Podcast. Today we've got a couple of guys from the Western Missouri Kayak Fishing League. We've got Matt Walthall, I think I'm saying that right, who
Yep.
is who's the tournament director. I believe that's your title there, right? Tournament director, Matt,
Yeah.
of again the Western Missouri Kayak Fishing League. And then we've got Andrew DeBay, who does Risen Custom Lures. I don't know if you're the title sponsor or what, but I know that you're at every event or almost, and a sponsor of Western Missouri Kayak Fishing League. And I know you help out wherever you can. So we've got him as well. If there's anything there that I missed in introductions, you guys go ahead and share it. And
No, I think that pretty much sums it up for me. I just try to kind of fill in wherever I can and help provide prizes and show off some of my custom work, but also try to catch a few fish while I'm at it.
Well, good deal. And for anybody that doesn't know, I'm also fortunate enough to be on the pro staff of Risen Custom Lures, hence the hat, and that pink lemonade S waiver back there is one that he did for me last year. So check him out if you get the opportunity. So to kind of kick it off, and so the way I'm kind of picturing this going is me and Adrian will ask you guys questions, and you both can hop in and answer however you see fit. Some of them will be geared towards Matt, and some might be geared more towards Andrew. So the first question I got for you is, what's like a couple of the things that make you different than other clubs in the state? You know, I know some of these differences because I have gotten to fish with you guys a couple of times, but some people that aren't familiar may not know what exactly does make you guys different.
I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference between us and most any other club. I mean, we're very friendly oriented and family oriented. Of you don't bring your kids, bring your kids. We love to have them there. Uh, we're not out it to make big money. We're a bunch of group of guys that just want to get together, visit, catch some fish, tell stories. Uh, we're not necessarily for trying to be the best of the best, just have fun. And I know that's the basis of all clubs, but we definitely try to live by that.
Well, and one of the things that I've noticed fishing with these guys this last year is, you get into some clubs where you cannot talk to any other competitor. Like it's not allowed, immediately DQ'd. But with these guys, it's about camaraderie. Yeah, that's competition. But if you go by somebody like, man, I haven't picked up a fish today, they'd be like, dude, start throwing this. You're going to start finding them. Like it's absolutely, hey,
Sure.
we're here to get people in. We're here to get people started. We're here to have a good time, and maybe somebody gets some free lures or some, a little bit of cash or something out of it. But it's definitely more like you're going to go hang out with your buddies than hard knocks competition. Don't even look at the bait that's hanging off my kayak kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And you mentioned bringing the kids, bringing the family, Matt. I fished with you guys at Atkinson, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago. And at that point in time, you guys had a like a children's league or something like that in addition to the main pot. I don't know if you guys still do that.
We're not doing it anymore or right now because the kids that we did have fishing it, of course, all turned into high schoolers and high schools taking precedence. So they're all tend to be busy and not showing up. So but anybody that brings their kids, even if they're not wanting to fish for a tournament and just want to get out and go, we more than welcome to love having them there. Like Andrew said, I mean, if you're not catching anything or kids, especially if we have kids on there, I've seen people like oh, they're not catching on that. Here, try these plastics and throw a whole bag in the kid's boat. Or I've seen adults do it too. So, it's definitely a camaraderie type situation that we enjoy having everybody there.
Yeah. Something else that's kind of cool that you guys do is leading up to the events. It seems like you guys get on Facebook and kind of if you're going to a bigger lake, organize where you're planning on camping together. And a lot of the lakes that you guys hit are a lot smaller. So, there's like one campsite or campgrounds area there. And it seems like a community thing Friday night into Saturday morning, hanging out. Almost everybody at the tournament gets to be there and hang out, which is really cool.
Yeah, we definitely have quite a few that tend to, if they don't camp or just show up to hang out Friday night, and it's a whole lot better camping if you got the group sitting around together instead of all around the lake. I mean, you turn into the party spot for the night, and everybody gets up middle of the night to leave. So
Absolutely. One other big difference that I know of that you guys do compared to other clubs is you don't use Tourney X for your live events, or at least you didn't used to. Saving some money for everybody involved because Tourney X does collect that fee, and for the little bit smaller and little bit lower competition, not lower competition, lower competitiveness, because you guys definitely don't have lower competition. You've got some hammers that come to every event too.
yes,
Yes, we do.
But with the lower competitive feeling of it, it works out well. Everybody saves whatever it is, 560 per person or whatever it is. So the payouts are a little bit better percentage wise, and makes it pretty low pressure.
well, and that all started with when we started this club. A lot of the small lakes that we were fishing, nobody, most people didn't have cell service around them, where you'd have to leave early to be able to go to town somewhere to try to get a signal. And then it just turned into I put a spreadsheet on my laptop and do it all on the computer, and it just it saves the money and saves us from having to try to find signal.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
works out really well to and they kind of mentioned this is to just as you're going through the day, take a minute and just create a folder, in your photos and just slide the fish you're catching in there. Because then at the end, you're not sitting there sorting, okay, I got 15, 12 inches. Well, okay, which one's the better picture? Like I did this last tournament, I sorted through probably 15 or 16 just to get the best picture I had because all we were catching were 12-inch fish. But it works out really well, and I've never really seen anybody argue with Matt or Frank about length. There might be some playful banter like, "Oh, come on, that's a quarter of an inch," but nothing overly serious either. So it's a pretty good system.
Well, and if
In
we have
the
somebody
intro,
call us out, we'll sorry. If we have somebody call us out, we'll definitely go back and look at them and okay, we messed that up. We'll definitely fix it. And we're human just like everybody else. And I saw 11 and a half, and no, it was 12 and a half. So we need we definitely want to fix it.
for sure. What I was about to say is that Andrew mentioned Frank, and he wasn't available this evening. But he is your guys' founder, as I understand it, and still is very heavily involved with the organization of everything. And Matt primarily runs the tournaments. If you want to explain that at all, Matt, if I did a bad job.
No, actually, you did pretty good. Frank did start the club. We fished together in Kansas, and he decided a Missouri club, so he started it, and I got in a little later on on this club, but I've been with him since the beginning. I decided I didn't want to fish a year, and decided I'd run director, and I just kind of been doing it ever since. Frank's still heavily involved. I mean, he does a lot of the sponsorship stuff that we deal with, or people that giveaway stuff, and we kind of work together on figuring out what we're doing for trophies that year, whether it's something that we're making compared to purchased or whatever. With his schedule, he's busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me.
I wanted to ask what's an average turnout for most of your events look like?
Generally 15 to 16. I mean, of course, you got some that are 10 and 12, and last year we had one that was 35. So
Yeah, that was nuts.
we had 16 Saturday on Bushwhacker, and it'll go up from there. So, and yeah, like anywhere else, it'll get later in the year, and we'll have a few that decide that they don't want to anymore. So we'll lose some and gain some. And we've got several that
Absolutely.
want to fish up, fish the few lakes up north that, I mean, that don't want to travel as, and we've got some in the south that aren't going north. So we've definitely got a varied group of guys that travel around.
With that, I wanted to, or not with that, but with the like big competition there. I know that like Zach Wolverton and Jared Fosno spend a lot of time fishing with you guys, and anybody who's familiar with kayak fishing in Missouri has heard those two names over and over again. So it's not like you're going there and fishing against a bunch of slouches. Like a lot of the guys you guys have fishing there are really good, and it's a great time to learn from them because it is a really friendly atmosphere. So
Yeah, yeah, and they'll even those two as well will sit and tell you, "Hey, this is what's working. This isn't." And they're in it for the fun of it too.
absolutely.
Yeah, I ran across Jared during this last tournament and was talking with him, and he had broke his live scope pole and was talking about that. So we actually stopped and talked for a few minutes about what he was finding and wasn't finding. And he, just like everybody else, was having a day of dinks, and that's the fun thing about this is you never know, you get a guy that goes in there with $20,000 worth of equipment, and then you get a guy like the guy that won it who's borrowed a kayak and it's his first tournament ever and smacks everybody around. So it's always fun, and those guys are helpful. And yeah, that's if you want to learn from some of the best guys in the state in an environment where they're in the competitive mode, that's when you do it. You can watch them, you talk to them, you can see like, hey, this is their tactics, this is how they approach, and it's just going to make you a better fisherman in the long run.
100% there. You mentioned something about prizes being stuff that you guys make or stuff that you purchase. I think some of the prizes that you guys do are pretty cool. Frank does and I don't know if he makes them or if he gets them made, but does like wooden rings, I believe, for if you catch over 100 inches in a tournament. I've seen you guys
But
do the smallest fish. What Frank makes those?
he has somebody make them for us that are for the rings. Yeah, we've come up with some little trophies for the smallest bass caught just for fun, and it's a little bitty trophy. We've got a trash can for our trash pot. I mean, we have fun with it, and there's people that are out there they want the trash cans and they want the little trophies. Yeah, and I've got one sitting on my shelf at home too.
And then if I
Fun thing
remember
for
right,
them
some of them
Go ahead.
if I remember right, some of them in the past have been like mugs and glasses and stuff for the winners as well. So kind of some cool, little bit different stuff than what you normally see, and it's all cool quality stuff from what I've seen. So
yeah, I do a little bit of laser engraving, and I'm the one that was doing those last year for the different mugs. And it's one of those that helps save the club some money to be able to do them in house to where we're not paying out quite as much in stuff that we can then take membership money and go towards more prizes of giveaway stuff. And we tend to feed everybody at the end of the year. Have a big cookout after one of our tournaments to where everybody sit around and visit and have food. And Frank's dad generally smokes a bunch of meat for us, and just a good time.
Yeah, I think every tournament that I went to this last year, everybody walked away with something. And besides the camaraderie and the learning and all of that, which this club is definitely all about. they again are not in it for the money. So all of those fees and everything get turned to put right back into the club, which is one of the reasons I wanted to hop in as a sponsor and be like, hey, I like that this is what we're doing. We're learning, we're giving back to the people that are here. I'm all about donating some free baits and stuff to people because man, it makes my day getting pictures back with people that are like, hey, you painted this and it's hanging out of the mouth of a 3-pound smallmouth. Like I got a picture today. Like that just make my whole week. And then, seeing people that come out of the woodwork that are like, wow, you did really well this tournament. What did you work on? And it's just being able to talk to people. I don't know that I have seen any club that is quite this close knit.
I'd stand to agree with that. I know I haven't been to very many of your guys' events, but the ones that I have been at, it really felt like a tight knit community. We keep saying, the first time that I ever met most of those guys, it was the night before at Atkinson a couple years ago, and everybody just treated me like we'd all been there for years. So it was pretty cool.
And I
So
think most of us
last
are like everybody else. We like to sit and talk to other people. And if you show up with a kayak on the ramp and we don't know you, we're going to stop and talk to you and find out if you want to come hang out with us because we want more people and want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I know that Stacy Jordan comes and fishes a lot with you guys, and that guy will visit with anybody under the sun and make them feel wanted around. He's very good about that. So
Sure.
um so last year you guys had what I believe to be your first event north of I-70 at Indian Creek Lake, and that was a lot of fun for me. I fished that one. I know Andrew was there. He had a great time. I think Andrew might have been the one that talked you guys into coming up north. And you guys are doing that again. I have the schedule here. Is that something that you guys are excited about?
Yeah, for especially being from where I'm at, we don't have a lot of clear water. And for what Southern Missouri says is clear water compared to Indian Creek is phenomenal from what I can see. I mean, being able to fish different waters like that is a lot of fun.
Well, and Dane and Adrian, you guys probably both know, we get some decent clear water here, like Happy Holler and Pony Express, but then you go over to Indian Creek and it's like you're in South Missouri. I mean, we can see 15, 20 feet down. It's a totally different fishery. And I grew up there in Chillicothe fishing that lake, and it's changed a lot even from when I was growing up over there. Water quality's gotten better, size glass has gotten better. I mean, that lake is on the up and up. So yeah, I'm glad that they made it up there. And I do believe that was one tournament last year where there was not a single zero on the board. So everybody
Yeah.
had a good time. Everybody caught fish.
With that, I was kind of wanting to put you on the spot, Matt. In the future, do you think that there might be any plans to move more events north? I know that most of you guys are based around the Joplin area, so it's quite a haul for most members in your club. But I was wondering if there is any plans for more in the future.
But that I don't
It's a
know. I
selfish
know
question.
we've got Indian Creek again this year. I don't know if we'll try to move up further north for some of the others also or not. But I mean, if we get enough membership that's saying, "Hey, let's try this lake or let's go this direction," we try to accommodate who we can. But so yeah, there's always a possibility.
I will say to that though, some of the places that they fish are worth the drive. This is the second time I ever fished Bushwhacker, and it's an awesome lake. It's got a lot of structure to fish. You can be out in the middle of what you think's 30 foot of water and find a stump. Like it's an awesome lake. last time when we fished it last year was right after a thunderstorm, so it was a little tough first thing after that blew through. But everybody ended up with fish again, and I'm hoping to make it down to Lake Springfield this year because I'm itching for some frogfish, and that is a frogfish lake. And
Yes.
I went to college down there and fished that lake, so it's they do some really neat stuff. We've got the Peabody pits coming up. I've never been there, but I'm excited about this because then you get to check out some new places. But there's not been a lake that people are not going to find fish at, and that's one thing I think these guys work hard at. Is they take suggestions and everybody's opinions into account, but they also plan so that everybody is going to have a good time. Everybody's going to find a fish. Everybody's going to, not leave empty handed one way or the other.
Definitely. A lot of them lakes are kind of with the little bit smaller turnout than some of the other clubs. And with the friendliness that you guys have, because you don't it's would be trouble on some other leagues or whatever you want to say. Uh the ability to go to some of these smaller bodies of water and go and compete like that is definitely cool because you can find some real gems. I know that Bushwhacker, it sounds like, didn't really super show out this time, but I know that it can be a great body of water, and I know a lot of them down there are supposed to be really really great. The something that I wanted to bring up on that, I mean, you mentioned the Peabody pits, Andrew. You guys do a couple of different ones that's kind of like that, I think, where there's a bunch of bodies of water on the same chunk of property that you can fish.
Yep. Shawnee Trails Conservation Area is the other one that we do that way. And
It's
it's the same. There's 5 or 6 different pits in a main body that you can fish any of them.
that definitely makes for an interesting tournament. Being able to go and fish a bunch of different stuff like that and not having to be on all the same kind of place, and you can, and that, in my opinion, that allows people to go and kind of find what they want to fish, rather than what they have to fish. So,
Sure.
and you guys do an Angler of the Year race, points race, prizes, stuff like that too, as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we do. It's pretty standard, 100 points for first and 98 and down for everybody else. And last year it was a little bit of cash and a trophy, and it just varies year to year as to what we do at the end, but we generally try to do something for AOY and sportsmen.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I knew you guys do the Sportsman of the Year award. I know we got the winner of that last year here with us. Andrew won that.
Yep, unanimously, I might
Yeah,
add.
That was a surprise and very humbling. I just want to be there, want to be helpful, and my wife calls me a social moth, so it's pretty easy for me to talk to people. And no, it was greatly appreciated, guys, and thanks again for that very much.
and so you guys always do a 2-day championship, I believe. Maybe last year it got dropped to 1 day. But normally for that, it seems like you guys pick a little bit bigger lake, one of the major lakes in the state. Is there a reason for that?
Just the way it was decided to be done, and that's done it. Of course, if we're doing it 2 days, if we pick a bigger lake, we can pick a different spot on the lake each day. If we do a shotgun start, to where we can fish the north side of a big Stockton on Saturday, and the south side on Sunday, and you can change. Different things change around day to day in different areas.
Yeah, that's something else that you guys do different, at least than the other clubs in Missouri, is a shotgun start from one main ramp. All of you guys taking off together, which definitely makes for a sight. Everybody in the tournament there together, waiting for takeoff, not spread out for where you don't see anybody all day. So
Yep.
And some of us fat kids wheezing as we're trying to pedal as fast as the trolling motors.
I know that feeling very well. I wanted to ask you guys, what's the most exciting? What is the most exciting event on your schedule for each of you guys personally? I know that Matt, you had said that you may not be fishing all that much this year, but I guess if you have an exciting one to watch the turnout on, and Andrew, what are you most excited to fish personally?
I like Springfield Lake. I like the lily pads in it. Past couple of years we fished it. It's flipped and flopped as to where people catch fish, whether it's in the river or on the main lake, and just seeing how that turns out. I like fishing the grass and the pads, so it's a great one for me.
I am definitely looking forward to Indian Creek. It's probably one of my favorite lakes in the state. The second one would be I'm looking forward to Lake Springfield also, because I haven't been there since it flooded, but I knew the river and the first part of the lake pretty well, as far as structure and where to find fish. But that's changed. It's been 10, 15 years or so since I've been there. So, all of that knowledge accounts for nothing after a big flood. But I'm excited for that. The other one I'm excited for, I'm not sure whether I'll fish it or not, is Lamar. Mostly because that was the first tournament of the year last year. And we had 35 people on that lake, Matt?
35.
You could have walked from kayak to kayak. I mean, it was interesting. It was great seeing that number of people and everybody out there, and it's also fun to see how fast conditions change and how people have to change, because the day before, everybody that pre-fished was like, man, they're just hitting chatterbaits. And then the weather changed just a little bit, the water warmed up just a little bit, and the banks were just covered with carp. So it changed the entire thing, and I'd like to get down there and change my record, because I put a goose egg up for the first tournament, but if there's that many people, I'll probably just stand by, eat a hot dog, and wait to give away baits.
Well, there you go. The ones that were most interesting to me, which I haven't fished very many of the locations on the schedule there, but of course Indian Creek I'm very excited about. I'll be at that one for certain, and I would the Peabody Pits is very interesting. It is double scheduled with another tournament that I have that same weekend. Otherwise I'd be at that one as well, but that one, it seems very interesting to me personally. So, but
Yeah, that I don't know much about there, so I've never seen it. I see a lot of these lakes for the first time. If this club's not fished them, I've never seen them. So there's definitely some that even I'm seeing going, hey, this is kind of cool, or hey, this place, I can't stand it.
Right.
yeah, I keep mentioning that I went to that Atkinson one for the first one that I fished with you guys, and it was horrible. I think one guy measured like 2 fish or something like that in one. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a good lake. The weather just turned on us the night before, or 2 days before, and it was awful conditions and very, very difficult fishing. To where I had fun. I certainly had fun, but I just got beat up by the wind the whole time and left that one saying, I don't know if I'll be back there. So
One of these
that lake,
days, we'll get it and we'll go back.
What's that, Matt?
One of these days when they get the conservation area done, we'll put it back on the schedule and try it again just to see.
Yeah. What were you saying, Andrew?
I was going to say that lake, unless you've got a south wind, just gets hammered. They've got that big long dam that runs because that's part of their water structure there for waterfowl. But I've also known, I had some in-laws that lived down near there for a few years. That lake has the potential to put out some big crappie too, so it could be an interesting trash pot. He was saying that they were catching 13 or 14-inch crappie out of there pretty regularly before all the construction, and they're not really messing with that lake a whole lot. It's more with the duck blinds and the main Shallow Sage Lake that's there that they've done a lot too. That lake used to be good fishing too. They had to drain it, but I imagine, and again, I'm not the tournament director, but I imagine if there's enough popularity there when that lake kind of comes back, they may open it up to fish either one because there's a lot of good cover and structure that they're putting in. That would be like if we get 20 people to show up, be like, oh, okay, we need to open it to both lakes. And that's one of the nice things about the pits and stuff too, is you have that option. You're like, okay, we've only got 6 people, so let's just try to stick together in these two, or hey, everybody go wherever they want. But when you get into lakes like Lamar and Springfield and stuff, you've got a few less options than some places like that, but that's part of the fun too, because you may go roll through somewhere with a frog and not find anything, and then somebody's punching through the lily pads, pulls out 20 inches every time. So they pick some really good lakes.
So the first tournament has already passed at Bushwhacker. Either of you care to share how that kind of went for people? I know Andrew mentioned a lot of 12 inchers, but
There were definitely, they were fighting between the 12s and 13s to try to find any size. We had several that were 17 plus that they were in there and they were being caught. You just had to fight your way to get to them. But most people, if they had anything over 17, it was one, and everything else was 13 or smaller. We did have one turn in an 8.5-inch fish, but that's because he wanted the smallest fish pot.
Yeah, I had a little inkling that there's going to be something really weird happen, and we had a crazy topwater bite in March. They were smacking buzz baits. They were smacking the topwater that I was throwing, and I probably had a limit of fish in 20 minutes. Like it was on fire. Like you'd think the lake was going to explode. But those first 5 fish were 13, 12, 11 and 3/4, 11 and 3/4, 11 and a half, 10 and a half. Like you're like, okay, no, we're going the wrong direction here. And then I found a 19 and a half just a little bit later than that. And I'm like, okay, now we might be onto something. And I spent the rest of the day sorting through 11 and 3/4 to 12-inch fish to try and upgrade. But I mean, it was a blast. I like going out and catching fish, and you could use some different tactics and stuff. Caught them on swim bait, caught them on spinner bait, caught them on top water, and it was weird because normal things like chatterbaits and stuff, they didn't want anything to do with. But and once people kind of figured out, okay, this is what they wanted, like everybody was just tearing through fish, but it was a fight for 1/8 and 1/4 of inches. So it made for a pretty close tournament.
Yeah, it really did.
that's definitely fun. The guy who won in the Facebook pictures, he looks like a kid. And you said it's his first kayak tournament.
Yep. He works with Frank, and he wanted to fish, so Frank told him to come on. I honestly I have no idea how old he is, but he's a concrete worker, so I'm assuming he's older. But yeah, he'd never fished out of a kayak, never been in one. Borrowed a kayak and won the thing with like 7 inches, 6 or 7 inches.
Wow.
So he had a really good day.
Yeah,
do you remember his total?
80. I'm wanting to say it was like 80 3/4 or something around there.
Wow. Like a 16-inch average or something?
Well, he had 3 that were 3 over 17 and like 2 12s. I mean, he couldn't get rid of all the 12s either. But yeah, he had a phenomenal day.
That's awesome. And then what was the big bass from that one?
20 and a half, 20 and a quarter. I look at him that day and then forget about him until I put results out. There's a lot of fish to look at over the course of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know Andrew said 19 and a half, and
He
I
had
mentioned
I've actually got it. It's 20 and a quarter.
20 and a quarter.
Yep. And Connor won with 80 and 3/4.
And was it Amanda Abel that came in second?
Yep.
Do I have that right?
Yep. Amanda had 72 and a quarter. So.
Wow.
But after you got between the first and second, it was pretty close after that. And a lot of 70s and 60s, between 68 and 70.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think I got like 5th or 6th, and I think I had like 68 and a half or something like that. Just could never find anything to go with that bigger fish. But everything else there it was all pretty close. So it was literally coming down to quarters of an inch between places, and that's fun. Honestly, when you get into stuff like that, and you're like, man, I had 11 3/4 and you had a 12. It was so close. I find that fun.
Definitely. And you said there was like 16 people there?
Yep. So we had 16 at this one. We had a couple that showed up that didn't fish that would have made us a few more, but they decided last minute that they weren't feeling like it and didn't. So, but they'll be at others, and we'll have more. I mean, we'll probably average that 15 to 20 throughout the season.
Definitely not a bad turnout, and especially not on some of those smaller lakes like that. So.
And that's part of the reason. That's part of what we like is I would love to have 40, 50 people at every tournament, but that kicks out a lot of the lakes that we like to fish. And that was part of the reason we started was we wanted to fish the smaller bodies. I mean, there's nothing against any other clubs, but we don't want to fish the big waters like that. And it's more fun to fish little 100-acre puddles and having fun with it.
Definitely. That's definitely, it's definitely nice having the different options like that in the state, having the ability to go and fish those kind of large ponds like that and stack a bunch of people and see how it works. It's definitely nice to have that. And then you can go to Truman where you get lost for 10 days. So
yeah.
Was the weather a factor in that tournament at all, do you think?
What was that?
Was weather a factor in that tournament at all? We talked to the guys coming out of the Moyak Winter Series, and it seemed like both times, because we did stop 3 and stop 4, and it seemed like both of them they were talking about the wind or the rain or the cold or whatever. Was weather playing a role in this one?
I think the incoming weather played more of a role than what was happening that day. We had that cold front that was, of course, moving in night and the next day, and but for a Saturday in March, it turned out to be a gorgeous day and a little windy to begin with, but it died down and everybody did great.
Yeah, I was putting real hard look into the wind directions. Because again, I have a pedal drive and an anchor, and that's my spot lock. And so I try to pay attention a lot. And we were having an east southeast wind that was going to go south and blow real hard for a little while, and then it's going to kind of go southwest and die. And about middle of the day, the south wind was something to contend with, but it wasn't like unmanageable. You had to work it, and I just used it to drift banks and fish. But I mean, compared to some of the other lakes that I've been on, some of the bigger lakes, when you get a 10 or 15 mile an hour wind and you got to fight through whitecaps to get back to a boat launch, it wasn't really much here. And that is one of the other nice things about a smaller lake like this is, if you get in trouble, there's going to be somebody fairly close by, that's kind of paying attention. Like, all right, am I getting too close to this guy? Or, I got space, or hey, that guy just fell out of his kayak. Let's go see, and that's the other nice thing about the club is I think everybody stop fishing and come make sure you're okay. It's that kind of atmosphere.
That's definitely awesome. I know some years ago we were on a lake here doing a fundraiser tournament for the college that I went to, and we had a guy we got winds picking up, and we had a guy hit a stump and flipped, and I know Adrian was doing pretty well in that tournament, and then ran over to help him out towards the. I mean, it was in the last 30 minutes. You think, Adrian?
Yeah, it was when everybody was heading back to the ramp. Flipped his autopilot, and those things, when they get water in them, it's not good. You definitely got to have a bilge pump for those. It was scary.
Oh.
And yeah, that was a benefit of being on that smaller lake. Is as soon as somebody had seen him and said something, and I don't know if Adrian saw him or not, but was able to go over there and help him out. And there might have been others that went with you. I just remember that you for sure went over there to help him, which was nice because, like we've said a couple times now, on those bigger lakes, you may not have anybody around to help. So, was there any? Do you have any like fun plans discussed for future seasons that you wanted to share? And if you don't want to now, that's totally fine. But I know that there's a lot of cool water down that way that you guys could definitely do different stuff on. So
we're always discussing it. I mean, of course, trying to keep schedules open to where we can, try to contend with other clubs, and it's hard to put another date on the calendar for everybody. But we've always discussed doing various different things, but not necessarily anything concrete or other than just we've talked about it. And one of these days we might try to get something going.
absolutely. That's mostly what I've got for you guys. Adrian, do you have anything else?
Yeah, most of the time when we're fishing, we have to spend, I think the cheapest one's like $75, and they get up to about $100. And then when you get to the bigger ones, they're $200 to enter a tournament. What does it cost to enter one of your guys' tournaments?
So we do, with just to fish the tournaments, $30. That's just the plain entry fee. We do like I said, we do big bass and a trash pot, which are both $5. We do a small bass, which we started this year. So not only are we doing the trophy, but it's also, there's some money involved. It's $5. And then we do a random team draw that nobody knows who their teammate is each tournament, which is $15. So everything together is $60.
Sweet.
And then
Time.
25 for membership.
Yeah, $25 membership for the first time. But yeah, we do a random team drawing. It's seemed like a lot of fun. Everybody gets, you draw a card when you turn your fish in, and I've got it set up to where it goes on to which teams is which, and so yeah, you have no idea. You cheer on everybody during the day because somebody might be your teammate.
I know that was a lot of fun for me at Indian Creek last year. Even whenever I was like, well, I know I'm out of the money. Maybe I'll be in this. Maybe I got paired up with we said Jared and Zach earlier, and they were first and second, I believe. So, uh, hoping that I maybe got paired up with one of them. It was definitely a cool element, and not knowing until the very end was quite fun. So it's a cool idea, definitely.
And I mean, of course, we're still working on. We've pretty well got it lined out to where it works pretty good, but nobody's complained too much yet. So we've just kind of been going with it.
No, I think it's a great idea because again, that fits the type of club this is. You can get into teams that are guys that fish together and fish together and fish together and fish together, and they know, right, your strength might be a shaky head, and my strength might be throwing a jerk bait, and you guys can kind of team up that way. Where here, it's the competition is kind of secondary to the enjoyment, where it's like, you get paired up with random people and you learn different things. And, after the tournament, when you don't know who your partner is, you're just like, oh, hey, cool. Didn't know we were working together. So that's something that I really hope to encourage to keep going on in the future. Cause it just has a really fun, surprise element. Cause you might be like, yeah, man, I only caught 15 inches worth of fish today. And then you get paired up with somebody who got 85. You're like, oh, look, I won a little bit of something. And it's, encouraging. So.
Definitely. Adrian, do you have any other questions for him, or do you guys have anything else that you guys think we didn't cover? I've got a couple more things, but they're for the end. So,
Not that I
Adrian,
can
you gonna
think.
come fish?
What's that?
Adrian, you gonna come over to Indian Creek?
I don't know. My schedule is pretty packed this year. If I have a free weekend, I'll come fish that one because that's close to me. So I'll give it a shot.
Definitely. And I think if either of you can work it in to go to Lake Springfield, I think you guys would have an absolute blast because who does not like watching a frog get absolutely annihilated? And that is the lake to do it.
that one's been on
Yes,
my
it is.
radar for some years to go down there. But past couple of years, there's been scheduling conflicts. This year, I believe it's a free weekend for me, and I might make the trip because I know that should be a fun trip, whether I fish up in the river or down in the lake. So
Well, if either of you guys decide that you want to make that trip, my trailer holds up to 4 kayaks. So we can definitely get together, carpool anywhere, anywhere we need to go. If you guys want to go, just holler at me. We'll hop in and go.
Sweet.
that'd be awesome. Um, well, Andrew, I wanted to kind of leave this towards the end, but why don't you share some of the stuff that you do to help them out, kind of as a self shout out for you. I know you give
Um,
away some baits and
yeah, I give away baits. I custom paint and hand paint with an airbrush, all kinds of different crankbaits. I've got a guy that I get baits from on the regular from New York that does soft plastics. I introduced Frank and a couple other guys to Doug Wayne with Junior's Jigs, and he's been donating, and um, some of that membership fee goes to different places like that. If I know it's going to the club, I don't charge Frank for anything. If he's like, "Hey, I want that to give away," it's for the club, man. I'm happy to do it. Um, I've been pretty busy with some new opportunities in that department this year, but I try to get with Matt again after this and see where they're at on getting special use permits and stuff because you got to have those for the conservation lakes because they have a whole different set of rules than like the Corps of Engineers or state park lakes. And it's mostly just to make sure the area gets taken care of and not going to get trampled by 800 people without their know-how and all of that. But I'm definitely happy to be a behind the scenes guy. But if they're like, hey, we're not feeling good, we need somebody to step in and take over to run the tournament. I'm at their disposal. That's what I think a sponsor does, is to be available for what is needed to take care of the club.
100%. I think partially why we've got you on tonight is exactly that. Because I know Matt. I think Matt's still at work, or not Matt. Frank is still at work. But the one last thing that I really had here, unless you guys have anything, was Andrew. Did you want to talk about that deal for Bryce's fundraiser?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Dane here is one of my pro staffers this year, and another guy by the name of Bryce Atchison is pro staffing for me. He fishes a lot of the MFL BLF. He's trying to fish the Ozark Team Trail. I think Dane and I have beat him over the head several times that he needs to get a kayak and get into that too. But he and his team partner are looking to do a tournament for St. Jude. It's the Hope Tournament, and Bryce had cancer. He's a cancer survivor of childhood cancer, and an amazing fisherman, great dude, wonderful human. And he and his partner are trying to raise $5,000 to go towards this charity for St. Jude. So at the end of next week, I'm going to be doing a sale on Whatnot. I did my first show a couple weeks ago, and it was great. I'll be doing another Whatnot show, probably not this Friday, but next. And 50% of everything is going to help them reach their goal of $5,000.
And if anybody else is interested in helping out with that, I think that they're looking for any opportunities that they can get their hands on. And I believe his partner was Spencer Clark for that, if I'm remembering right.
Yes. And when you mentioned that, I am also remembering that anybody that does a donation of $10 or more to them is being entered into a free guided trip, because that's what his partner does. He guides um, fishing days out for crappie and bass, and I believe he does trout there on Taneycomo also. So those guys know those lakes inside out and backwards, and it would be an awesome trip, guaranteed to catch fish.
That's Spencer Clark, Hillbilly Hulk. If you aren't aware, to see kind of what he does as well. So hopefully those guys can reach their goal, and hopefully this gets some more eyes on that, so that way they can go and raise some money and get to go have some fun. So, any last minute things, Matt or Andrew or Adrian?
Not that I can think of.
I can't think of anything.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all that I've got today. Thank you guys so much for coming on and talking about the series. Primarily around Joplin for the most part, within an hour or so. So if anybody that's watching this is looking to get into kayak fishing or is in that area and just wants a fun weekend, check out their schedule, check out their Facebook, Western Missouri Kayak Fishing League. You can find all the information there. Definitely a great group of guys. I've gotten to fish with them a couple of times, and definitely had fun and plan to do a little bit more in the future. So yeah, go check them out. And everybody at home, thank you so much for watching. We'll see y'all next time.